I'm Carol Korte of Korte Jewelry Designs, and welcome to my studio. I opened my business in 2014 after being a stay-at-home mom and a homeschooling mom. Once my kids got older, I was finally able to take a little time for myself. I had always been involved in arts and crafts of all kinds. I've always loved learning. And it was time. About 15 years ago, I started doing chainmail, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the tactile sensation of these chains. From there, I moved on to other types of chains and other types of metalworking here and there, and I finally decided in 2014 that it was time to go for it, and I am so glad I did. In 2016, I went to take a chasing and repoussé class, and it changed my entire body of work. I absolutely fell in love with this technique and just want to keep learning. And in fact, I want to just learn as much as I can possibly learn. And to that end, I started an apprenticeship program through Jewelry Training Solutions. And I'm learning stone setting and engraving and other metalworking skills. And I just love it. I'm so excited. My work now primarily focuses on chasing and repoussé, which is an ancient sculpting technique, actually two different techniques. Repoussé is from French. It means to push. It means when you work on the back of a piece, you push the metal out, and this creates the depth in your piece. To chase, you work on the front of the piece, and therefore you can get more detail and all the definition and everything in the piece. Unlike engraving, no metal is removed when you're doing chasing and repoussé. It's just pushed, molded, sculpted. There's no molds, there's no dies, there's no stamps, there's no machines. It's all done with small blunt tools and a hammer. Therefore, every piece is going to be absolutely unique because each piece takes thousands of hammer blows to create. My work starts with a flat piece of metal, just a flat piece of sheet silver. The first thing that I do is I trace the outline on the back, and I do repoussé, so I work from the back. I mount the piece into a pitch bowl. Pitch is a sticky, sap-like substance. When you heat it up, it gets softer. When it cools off, it gets hard, and it holds your piece securely, and it has a little bit of give to it so that you can create the depth, but the metal won't collapse as you're hammering it. Once I get all the detail that I want from the back, all the depth that I want from the back, I flip it over, and then I do all of the detail from the front. So it's a laborious process, but I love it. It's like magic when you see the image in your mind come to life on the metal. I like using traditional metalworking techniques, kind of the old school techniques. A lot of the metal that I use, a lot of the wire, I make by hand. I make by melting scrap metal, so I really have very little waste in my studio. I form an ingot, and then I can use my rolling mill to roll that ingot into either sheet or wire to use. For some of my chasing, I do use manufactured sheet just because you're using very big pieces sometimes for the cuff bracelets, and it's just easier. It's hard to roll that big a piece. I don't have the torch power to be able to do that. But I love being able to do this because it gives me the freedom to make whatever I want to make. That I can get any size or shape of metal that I want without having to sit and order it and then wait for a week for it to come and find out it's not the right size and going to work. I can make whatever I want. All of the rings that I make are all completely made from scrap metal, from remelting them and forming the ingot. With what I do, I really focus on the ancient techniques. I just love that connection with the past. I love thinking that, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, people were doing things in very similar ways. I don't have many machines in my shop. Most everything that I do by hand. And it takes more time, but I just think you get such a special, unique piece. If you have any questions about what I do, I'm always happy to talk about it. Please feel free to call me or email me. My contact information is all on my website, and I'm always happy to work with my customers on custom orders. Thank you for visiting my studio.